right. So today we're going to make something, I don't even know what to call it. We're going to paint is what we're going to do. We're going to get out the watercolors, we're going to get out the crayons, and we're just going to do a real simple crayon resist. And a crayon resist is basically where the crayons push away our watercolors and said, nope, we want everyone to see us. Here we are. We're bright and colorful. And the paint says, all right, then, you win. This is kind of like, I had like a tie-dye in my brain when I was creating this. And I wanted to use the basic colors that my kids all know and to do some reviews. So we are using the primary family. There they are. It's the first family that my kindergartners start studying. So if you got any kindergartners, they should know these guys. I'm trying to think where we left off, if my kindergartners learned about them yet. I'm not right sure. But they are red, yellow, and blue. And I always tell my kids that the primary colors are the most important colors to an artist. Without the primary colors, we cannot make art. If we run out of any other color, we can just make it. Unless it's a primary color, because you cannot make a primary color. These are the guys that are responsible for all the colors in the rainbow. They make all the other colors. You start with one of them, and you start mixing colors together. Boom. These guys are responsible for them. So we are going to be using the 3 primary colors to create this little tie-dye effect swirl that we've got going on. And depending on how big you make your little swirls, you may have room. I have room for like 6 little swirls. I've done this before where I've only had room for 3, 1 of each color. Again, it just depends on how big you're making your little area there, your little scribble. So it's real simple for little ones to work with. It gives them some practice with recognizing the primary colors, working with the primary colors, working in a swirl and working with a pattern, and then just doing some real easy basic paint skills, because we're just going to take one color and paint the background with it when we are done. So super easy, especially if you have some watercolors laying around. And I used the big fat chunky crayons for this guy because it was a little bit easier to kind of work with. So, using our primary colors, got you guys back, got my paper, and what I did is I kind of made myself just tiny little points, and from there I drew my swirls from the center. And that gave me a little bit of a, very, very lightly, because I don't want it to show through on the crayon. Of course, telling a kindergartner to do that and draw lightly is an obstacle in and of itself. And some of these simple things that I'm telling you to do, that I try and teach the kids to do, and maybe in watching your own kids and they're not quite doing it, now you see what I go through and trying to get a class of 20 to do it all at the same time. Sometimes we are successful. Sometimes we've got to keep working on them. But that is the fun. So now I'm going to take my crayons. The reason I like the chunky crayons for my little kids is when they do certain projects, it's a lot harder for them to break the crayon, but if you don't have the chunky crayons, don't worry about it, no big deal. Now if you have an older kid who's working, maybe they want to participate and work and do something different, oil pastels also make a really nice alternative to doing a resist, because it's going to do the same thing and it gives them a little bit something different to work with. So if you have an older student who wants to kind of work and do stuff with their younger siblings, if you have any of those laying around, you could also find them at Walmart fairly inexpensive. And they're going to do the same job that, the expensive oil pastels are going to do. They're great for learners, and they can kind of do the different colors with these little swirlies as well and learn some blending techniques and stuff. So I know some people at this point are now going into the stores a little bit more, picking up some more materials and things of that nature. So those sets are just really a couple bucks, about $4 or $5. They're fairly inexpensive, and they're fun for the kids to play with. They do like to make a mess. Now, it does not matter what color you start with. I'm going to start with a darker color just simply so you can see what it is I'm doing. And I'm going to pick one of my swirls. Now, if you don't draw them ahead of time, doesn't matter now. Not really. Just start swirling away. And I'm going to start in the center. And what I'm doing is I'm just coloring. And I'm just shading back and forth. Because we're kind of going after like a tie-dye type of effect once we are all done. And I'm just shading out on my swirl. And I can move my paper as I go. Now, usually in my crayons, the first colors to start getting shorter and getting nubs and to break are always going to be my yellow, blue, and red, especially red and blue. Oh my gosh. Kids love using those, even if they're not their favorite colors. Pick a color, do your next swirl. Another crayon that I've liked, I've had them donated to my room before by some of our parents. I used to be able to find them at AC Moore. I'm sure Michael's has them. They're Amazon definitely does. They're the triangular crayons, so they don't roll off the table. I am seeing the benefit of those in my own home. I'm going to buy some for myself just to keep here. And then last but not least, the yellow. So I've made these really nice, thick lines. I'm not really going to call them scribble lines because they've got a lot more texture than a scribble line does. So I've made them a lot bigger than I did in my last picture. Now, if your child wants to add anything to them, that's not a big deal. You can let them if they want to add some decorative elements like some polka dots in there, or if they want to add a little line in between, absolutely go for it. So I used the black in the background, and it gave my picture more contrast. This way I'm not using one of the other colors that's going to make one of my primaries blend in a little bit more. Black is going to contrast against all of them. I use it as a framing background when I hang up artwork for a show for the students. This way it's going to make all of the students' artwork pop out a little bit. So we're going to use the black watercolor paint. And on the tray, I always have to point out to the kids which one it is because the purple seems to look really, really dark to them. So it is going to generally be the last color in your tray. And of course we need our water. Lots of water on our brush. And we're just going to stir it into the paint. You're going to see a little puddle form in the paint. And you want to make sure you're using a lot of water because that black is a very, very powerful color. As soon as I start putting it on there, it's going to look super dark. And we don't want it to be too dark because we don't want to take away from any of the pretty color that we have in here. And then I'm just going to start brushing it on. And I'm going to give it wide sweeping motions. Again, so I don't get any heavy black concentrated in one area because that's just not the look we're going for here. We do want the black, but we want my other colors to stand out as well. And we see if we paint over the crayon, it's going to go just right around it. and still stand out. It's going to fill in little areas where I was coloring. You can see it real good with the yellow. Fills in any little small areas, so literally every piece of the paper is filled in. And you just kind of keep going. And what's nice is you just take water in some areas without even dipping in the paints and spread it out. So that you can get a real nice even coverage until it's done. Now, of course, if you get some on the table, I forgot my messy mat again. Let me go. But watercolor does come right off of any area that you are working on, and you get the general idea because it looks almost like that one, with the exception of that one being done. But so this is just a general batik, and simple for little ones to work on because, you know, we're not focused on any difficult shapes or objects in this picture, just some simple lines for them. Our color family that they should be working on at this point in the school year with me. But, you know, viruses happen, and there it is. So I hope you guys like making something fun. And this is a technique that they can use over and over again with anything. I mean, now they can just draw anything and use this technique with their crayons and their watercolors if you have these at the house. And, you know, let me know what you guys have made. You can drop it on my Twitter, or you can leave me other comments, anything else that you would like to see done at Mrs. Mims and the number 1. I am always there. You can leave comments down below. Let me know if you like it. If you don't like it, I'm not going to know how to change something if you don't let me know. So that's fine. And until then, stay safe, take care of each other, and I will see you all soon. Bye, guys.